Crystal. I'm a little bit early. It's because my video is so far behind my iPad. I like to make sure that everything's good once it decides to come live on my iPad. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Nancy. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's been such a rainy and cold, yucky day. It's one of those days where sleeping sounds good. Doing reports and listening? Okay, cool. Hi, Jim. Hey, I don't want you to get mad at me tonight when I stab my dictionary. What? Yeah, when it's rainy, I love to just like lay in bed and put on a movie I've seen before so I don't feel bad that I slept through it. So, a couple more minutes here. And I did a lot of preparing here so that, you know, my video doesn't have to be super long for people who watch the replay. I made this snack today. Let me show you. Oh my gosh, it is so good. So, in here are Very Berry Cheerios, freeze-dried strawberries, and freeze-dried yogurt bites. Oh my gosh, what a delicious snack. So it's sort of healthy. I was eating it with peanut butter cookies though, so whatever. Hi, Sherry. Did I see Mac? Cleaning my glasses. Hi, Mac. How you doing? Hi, Kathy. I know I was just live last night, but that's just a once monthly thing for Technique Junkies. So, great. Now I'm going to start coughing just perfect. I'm going to try not to. Okay. Hi, Nancy's mom. Okay. I'm just waiting for that 5 o'clock thing to hit and then I'll start. All right, so I have done some prep work here, and what we're going to do tonight is we're going to make this card right here. You think it looks hard, but it really is not, so that's what I really want to Ricola. Thank you, Mac. That's what I wanted to point out, and the guys are home. Let me just shut my door here because they're making noise coming in. Mike's voice is so loud. So what you're going to need is I used this 3D impresslets. You could just use a regular heart if you wanted to. I'll tell you substitutes for everything. So you could just use a regular heart die. And then I've used these cutout words, and I'm using Love You because Valentine's. I'll go ahead and take this out. I've got my Distress Ink and Oxide and Lost Shadow. I've got my Lumberjack Plaid for my heart. I've got my Lumberjack Plaid Distress Embossing Glaze and my Embossing Dauber, one of my favorite tools. I have also Victorian Velvet here for the card base. My scissors, of course. And then in this card, I use this little arrow, and I use this number 14. Obviously, in the set, there's only one number 14, so I brought out some alternatives. So maybe a star or maybe this little key that says heart. Excuse me 1 second. He's gonna come barreling up here to tell me he's home when I can hear him. So I do have another set, but I'm saving that. So, and then I've got just some flat ephemera, and this one is Tim's. Some of these others are printables that I printed out and fussy cut because I do that when I'm working. I've got my Distress ink in Vintage Photo, and this is my re-inker. I've got these little hex fastener thingies. I don't know if they're the hex ones or not. I took them out of the package, but they've got a little indentation on them. And then I've got a paintbrush. I've got a little makeup brush. And then I've got this other little ephemera. And I already stacked and cut out the words in the white so that you don't have to sit there and wait for me to do that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to move stuff out of the way here. Let me put my inspiration card of, oh yes, grit paste. Yep. That's how you make your rust. And let's move my project tray because we're just right now going to be working with the Lost Shadow. And I'm going to be working on Tim Holtz watercolor paper. It doesn't matter which side you work on. Because there's no stamping. You could stamp if you wanted. It'd be cool. Add some texture or stencil or whatever. I've also got, this is to cut out the heart. This is to go back behind the card, and this is some black fun foam. All right, let's get started. So what I'm going to be doing here, and I think I'm going to go on the smooth side, is I'm going to be doing ink smushing. And it's going to be hard for you to see this ink because it's gray, right? Hi, Irma. Hi, Diane. Hi, Chow. But you'll just have to trust me that it's here. And I'm just going to lay some ink down. I'm going to grab my water sprayer, give it a couple of squirts. And then I'm going to just give my paper a couple little squirts. And I'm going to do my first dip. And it's very light, so in this case, you really have to build color. And I'm going to dry. This is probably the part that takes the longest. And also, I've got my little fan brush because, look at those hairs. Where'd those come from? I prefer to not have big splotches in this particular design. And it doesn't have to be bone dry. I'm just going to keep going in with more and more layers of the gray. And then I'll end with the oxide because the oxide's going to give it kind of those little white bits. Hi, Elizabeth. So this is how I do my water splats. Ah, shoot. I've got blue ink on here. Way to go, Trace. One moment here while I get a clean one. I think this one's clean. Nope, it's not clean either. This is what you get for being lazy. This is what I get for being lazy. Let me just clean it here real quick. Because I really don't want, I wouldn't mind if there's some gold on there, but I don't want a bunch of blue on there. Okay, that should be fine. Just going to do some little splatters. Just a little bit, and then give it another little dry. Do I love the glitter effect of what? You mean like splatting with my fan brush? I don't notice that. I just notice that it's not as big like the splatters in there. And when you're looking at galvanized metal, now I tried to get this exact effect. And I came pretty close using a makeup sponge. Where is that piece? But it was too big still for what I'm trying to do. So I found that this method was best. Oh, I don't notice it has a glitter effect. Crystal. Okay, I'm just spreading my ink out. Now you can kind of see it. And I'm just going to keep going in and dabbing some more. Give it a little dry. I do notice that when it first comes on, it looks pink, but then when it dries, it goes gray. The pretty pencils, yes. Okay. And then more water. Like that one spot right there. Give it a dry. Yeah, I don't notice that at all. To me, it just looks gray. But I did some experimenting doing with the spray stain, with the spray oxide over really colorful things, and I'll show you some cool results I got. Because, you know, I love to experiment. So, I mean, it basically just kind of, like, this was over some, I forgot. And then just over some, like, rainbowy things. It just kind of mutes down that whole rainbow. So, yeah, I did play with it quite a bit when I first got it. Okay, let's grab some more. So the more layers you put on, the darker your metal is going to be. Okay. But as you can see, when you look at the galvanized metal, there's some parts that are almost white. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the oxide. So I've got enough of this effect to make me happy. And this paper is 5.5 by 4.25, and I am going to trim it down. Let me just kind of wipe up here. I don't know where these hairs came from. Obviously from an animal, even though there's no animals in this room or even within 10 feet of the outside of my door. Okay, so now you may not even be able to tell that this is here, but it's here. I'm going to give it a dry. And so it's giving me those alterations of gray. Now you could throw hickory smoke in there if you wanted to. But I didn't on the last one, so I'm not going to on this one. Give it a little dry. Now I'm going to give it some water so that oxidizes a little bit more. And dry. I love all the colors. All of them. There's not one single distress color that I don't love. I'm really, really hoping that, because I know that the next two are going to be neutrals, I'm really hoping that we get like an eggshell color. Oops, I went in with ink and I meant to go in with oxide. Let's try that again. I'm going to do one more coat with the oxide. Then I'm going to trim it down and we're going to get our rust going. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I lost my mind. This is what happens when you try to do something live. Oops. There we go. I'm not going to lift or anything like that. Just wipe off and dry this. Hi. Hi, Regina. Welcome. And this time I want it to be pretty much 100% dry. Now, I usually will run something through my mink if it gets all warpy. And we might in this case too. Okay, so I've got my base. Now I'm going to do my trimming because I want to get my rust going. Now, you might say to yourself, so I want this to be 5 1/4 by 4. You might say to yourself, well, if it's galvanized metal, how's it going to rust? Right? Well, because there are going to be other types of metal involved that do rust. So one of those things is going to be the nails. So I made myself a template here because I can never get these straight. Of right where I need my nails to be. So this is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And I'm just going to mark with a pencil because I can never ever get these things straight. And I'll lose those marks completely. So no worries. All right, now I'm going to grab my Distress Re-Inker. And before I do that, though, let me go ahead and cut out my Love You. So on this one, I did it up here. So I had all this real estate. Now you could go this way and use the real estate down here. Completely up to you. So, but if I know if my nails are going to be there, I want to make sure that I have plenty of space here. And let's grab my mint tape. And you could use any words you want, but I do want the cutout, so, and I'm just eyeballing this to make it straight. And I'll be right back, and I run it through my Vagabond. And don't want to lose my letters. The insides either. Okay, put that away. I'm just going to set my letters aside. Where's my extra fingers? There they are. And I don't need these any longer either, so we'll get those out of the way. I just don't want to end up getting the wrong colors of ink on there. All right, so I've got my Vintage Photo Re-Inker, and I've got a paintbrush here. And I'm going to just place just a dab or so down here on my mat, because the main concentration of rust would be around where the nails are. So I'm just kind of putting a little circle of ink in there. And this is very, very concentrated. And then I'm going to give it a squirt and a run. We want that running down. That's how rust behaves. Okay, I lost my towel. Here it is. I'm going to wipe off here so I don't make a huge mess. I'm going to do another dab, bigger dab. I'm just going to run this all along the edge here. Just like this. Not imperfect or anything else like that. I want it to be grungy. And then I'm going to run my water. You see how I'm holding my sprayer? I don't want it running too much down here, but I want it to run some. Okay. I'm just going to let that sit, and then I'm going to come and do all the rest of the edges. I'm not sure if that's my ink or my water. I think this is my ink. Okay. See, I have to wipe up the water or I can't tell which is which. Because again, it's highly concentrated. All right. Put my drop here. These are the best investment. Okay. Just come along my edge here. Flip it around. Come along this edge. As if the galvanization was eroding off or something. And then I'm going to come back in with more heavy concentration here. Now I'm going to grab that ink again. I'm just going to do some splatters. I'm going to give this a dry because I still need to work on the inside of the letters. Oh, I like the sound of the crack with the die cut. You see this dries very, very dark because of the concentrated ink. And this is exactly why you want to work with watercolor paper. And honestly, y'all, this is the hardest part. And it's not hard. Just a little time consuming. I'm just going to pick this up for a second and wipe this off. Oops. So rust doesn't matter where you lay it, it doesn't mind. So I'm going to take my ink and I'm going to kind of just go around the edges of the letters. Not perfect. I'm thankful these are big. Oh, hi, Marva. Didn't see you come in. Thanks for coming. Oops, and if you mess up, you mess up. So what? Throw a little water on there, and you're golden. Just let that kind of sit there for a minute and do its thing. And, you know, I'm just in a hurry here, so I'm not doing such a neat job, but yeah, it's not supposed to look neat. This is rust. Yep, it is. But it made me take pause and do a double take, make sure. I know it looks like I missed that O. I didn't. I just skipped it for a second. And if my hand's in your way, I'm sorry. I have to get pretty close because of my terrible eyesight. Ugh. Okay, we'll get that O. Trying to take advantage of every little bit of ink that's on there. There we go. Now we're going to give that a dry again. Yes, thank you guys for looking out. Let me just get it right out of the way. I'm going to try and not run this through my mink today. Feels pretty dry in the corners. All right, next step. I've got my little black piece of cardstock that's a little bit smaller or the same size, and I'm going to glue it on. Glue this down to here so that my letters have a place to sit. Oh, there's my glue. Okay. And I want to make sure that these little edges are in so they don't lift. And you don't even have to use black, but I just chose to. Also, if you glue it down to something like this, it helps it lay flat. Hi, Donna. Hi, Pam. Oh, thank you, Melissa. That's really sweet of you. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to dirty this up a bit more. So I'm going to grab my vintage photo, just my regular distress ink. And I'm just going to come in and bring this around a bit. Do a streak here or there. Okay. All right. Now, what we have next here is I have my grit paste in Crypt. And I like to use this for dark, like rust, because it's already dark. So I'm just going to take a little bit out. And I'm going to throw it on my mat here. Maybe a wee bit more. I might not need that much, but if you don't use it, it's going to dry up and die anyway, so. It looks like a threat. That's funny. All right, so I'm going to add a drop, maybe 2 drops of my vintage photo. So I'm only using one color ink on here. I'm not bothering with Rusty Hinge or anything else. And I'm just mixing it, just like if you were a painter. And it will dry darker than what you see here. Now you may see me get my fingers in this because it's just so much easier to deal with fingers. You see I've got a little bit here. I'm just going to go along the edge. But see, I want it to kind of creep in. So I'm just sort of dabbing in it, especially where the nail holes are. See what I mean? You're not going to see those anymore. I don't want it to be too thick because I want it to dry. But you get the best effect if you use your fingers and kind of, you know, create a texture. That one's creeping in, so I'm going to go ahead and let it creep in. I love this stuff. Okay, so the rest of that I will wipe up a paper towel. A little heart in the center of the O. Yeah, you could do that, but not the way we're doing it. Okay, so that's kind of just got to sit there and sort of dry. I will help it with my heat tool a little bit. But while it sits there and kind of dries on its own, I can start on the letters. And I don't know why my brain thinks I need to do these in order, but it does. O, V, E, oh, we're having tacos too, chicken tacos. I love tacos too. I could eat them every day. So I'm going to glue these down, and I'm going to try my best not to get any glue on the edges because I'm going to want to ink the edges, and the glue will resist the ink. So when I got it too thick like that, I'm just going to bring it over here and press it down onto my mat because my mat cleans off so that I don't get any oozing. And I don't mind that I'm getting the rest stuff on there because I'm going to grunge these up as well. I have to go to the doctor fasting tomorrow. God, the thought of getting up and not having coffee is killing me. Oh. Oh, hi, Paulina. Good to see you. Thanks for chatting. I know there's people that might be watching and busy with other stuff too. I can't. If I'm watching a YouTube video, that's what I'm doing. Sometimes I might shop a little while I'm watching, but you know, I mean, come on. This is just going to ensure that I don't get any glue ooze. This one didn't sit quite right, but too late because I tapped most of that glue off. It's stuck like Chuck. Not too bad. These things are my extra hands if you've never watched my videos before. And by the way, if you don't know me or haven't watched my videos, my name is Tracy. Tracy Fear. My friends call me T. Not like the golf T, but like the letter T. Although, excuse me, most people spell it T-E-E. It's not that. Okay, I'm just trying to get the lid here in my glue because the next thing I'm going to do is grunge these, and that's going to take a little time. So that's where this dealy bob comes in, and this is just a little makeup applicator. I buy like 100 of them on Amazon just to use because, you know, I want to get in these teeny tiny corners here. And so I'm going to grunge each one of these letters up. And that's the way I'm going to get into those corners and along the outside edges. So that can be time consuming. You could skip this step if you wanted to, but I really think it makes a big impact. Get those letters dirty. And I'll place them in one at a time. Like it, just like a little puzzle piece. Okay. Oh, thank God this isn't a long sentence. Yeah. Yeah, well, because Tracy Schultz and I both are on the Foiling Snobs Club doing our thing. And she was there first, and we didn't want to confuse each other. So I said, well, my boss calls me T. Because he did. He was lazy. He didn't say anybody's full name. Or typing. You know how it is when you work from home. Nobody actually talks. Unless you know you're being coached. And I'm not too worried about glue going over, but I don't want it to go over too much. Okay, so then I need the small, need to grunge that thing up too and poke it in the hole. I'll usually take like the end of my paintbrush and just kind of give it a go around. Oh, thank you, Melissa. You like my last name? Nobody ever believes me. Your name isn't Fear. Yes, it is. Ask Mike. That's his name too. Kind of like John Jacob Jingleheimer. Okay. V. The other night, in the morning, I think it was, I had a nightmare about a stink bug. You guys know about my ongoing war with stink bugs. And I had a dream that it was like in the kitchen on the counter, and I was trying to kill it, but you don't want to smash them because they'll stink, right? So I was trying to kill them, and I woke up because I freaked out. And then I came in here, and lo and behold, I sat down at my computer, and sitting there looking at me was that stink bug from my dream. Just what? Come on now. Who has a premonition that they're going to have a bug haunt them? You married someone with your same last name? Well, I mean, my last name, my maiden name isn't Fair. So this is why it's kind of important to kind of get these on straight, and you see, like, there's some space in between there, but I don't mind. It's fine. Because you're not going to, you know, you're hopefully not going to sit there and hopefully closely inspect the card for white spaces. See, if you do this like this and then put like texture paste over it, then it looks like it's, you know how the signs were pressed? It looks like a pressed sign. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. Trust me, Paulina, you just find your dang tools, whatever works. This is such a small space, and it's very hard to get into these crevices. Well, these work great, and they don't fall apart like Q-tips. Your hands get dirty, but man, to me, if I'm not dirty, I'm not having fun. And they're cheap. I think I paid $6 for 100 of them on Amazon. Doesn't matter if you put the glue down on the black paper, if you put it directly down on the letter, doesn't matter. We're getting there, y'all. I had somewhere around here some of those little foam applicators from Ranger, but the little tips keep falling off, and I just don't have the patience for it. I know, I'm actually a very patient person, but yeah. Lest I not forget the inside of the 0 or the O. Smeared it, good. That's one thing about doing grunge and rust is anything is supposed to be there. Oh, pork chops with apples, or applesauce. That's funny. My mother used to cook, she used to just cook the apples right with the pork chops. Like after they were browned and ready to roll, she'd cut up the apples and throw them in there with all that yummy pork grease. Almost there with the letters, y'all. Then we're going to get to work on our heart. Each bite has to be dunked in applesauce. Oh my gosh. So my neighbor's got a dog. I think I told you about him last night. They just keep leaving him outside in the cold, and it just really just irks me. I just think that, I don't know. You know what? I mean, it's their dog, but still, I don't dig it. Okay, I'm going to wipe up my mess here. And wipe down my hands a little because I'm going to be working with another color here. Hair. Okay, so I have this little piece of, get that card base out of my way. Where did I put my little piece of watercolor paper? Here it is. I have this, and on the smooth side, I am going to just go straight pad to paper. And I know I don't need to color the whole thing, but I did. And that's that. And I like to kind of wipe this off a little bit because I'm going to send it through my embossing situation, which is this right here. And let me set up my vagabond. So with the, I want to show you guys something. When I use embossing, I save a couple of these really warped ones because I think they work really well to kind of hold that plate in there. Well, that's good, no accidents. I want to make sure it goes in the proper way. So the black on these embossing folders is always the front. And it's a 3D folder, so I'm going to run it through 3 times. Oh, I forgot to wet my paper. It's probably going to crack. We'll find out here in a moment. Well, it's fine because it didn't crack there, and that's where I didn't want it to crack. And I'm going to take my little scissors and I'm going to trim off the lace. You could leave it on if you wanted to. It's sort of, when you trim the lace off of this, it's sort of a retro-shaped heart. If there's such a thing. Just in my mind, it's just sort of retro looking. Okay. Hi, Desiree. Okay, I'm going to turn on my heat tool now and get it ready. I've got my little hot dog thing. Here's my embossing powder. And I've got my embossing dauber, and I'm just going to kind of make sure it's down. And I'm just going to run it all over the heart. I'm going to grab the bottom of the heart with my tweezers. I'm going to dump a bunch, okay? And the reason I'm dumping a bunch is because I'm going to turn around once this is hot and dip it right back in there. I need to get my tweezers on it again. sure it's nice and hot, and we give it a dip. And I'll drop my tweezers out and hope it melts around that edge. If not, I'll just dip that edge in. Sorry about that. Come here, you. Trying to get it to melt down to that end. There we go. It wants to be really crazy right there. There we go. Now that has to cool. So I'm just going to move it to right there so I can clean up my mess. I am too clumsy with the coffee filters, so I saw Jennifer McGuire use one of these, and I'm like, she's genius, man. Now, if you have trouble getting this stuff off your mat, I'll just grab some hand sanitizer, because sometimes water doesn't like to grab. Yeah, it does look like a candied apple, huh? You want to make sure it's cool. It's going to take a little longer to cool because you got a lot of thick plastic on there, and if you touch it while it's still hot, you'll mess up your pretties. All right, now see how we are on our grit paste. Seems like we're probably okay. Maybe a little bit wet, but it'll be fine. So what I want to do now is I want to get my composition going. So I know first and foremost, I'm going to want to put my arrow on. This arrow is not quite flat, I can see. I'm just going to kind of bend it a little. Now look, if you don't have an arrow, you could use you could put a safety pin in the heart, or you could use one of these type of pins. And it doesn't have to be a Tim Holtz arrow, it can be anybody's arrow. But I'm going to start with my arrow because it's going under the heart. And I want to only do right here and right here, because I want to be able to slide stuff up underneath it. You know, not to hold that for a moment. An old married couple, yes, Rusty Love. Hi, Jonna. I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. Yes, that is lumberjack plaid in both the oxide and the embossing glaze. And since I'm gluing down metal, I'm kind of holding it because it doesn't grab as fast as paper does with art glitter glue. And then I have here this black foam tape that I got on Amazon. I don't think it's meant for crafts, but I don't care. Okay. See how our heart is doing. Now I'll tell you a tip, because when you start handling this, it will get dull. So the very last thing I do is heat it again. So I know I want some foam tape right here and right here. And this stuff is sticky, y'all. Like, icky sticky. Okay, it's going to sit just partially on top of this U, so it's going to need some support right below it. Like right about here. And right about here. Let's see how that holds up, because this little arrow is kind of high. Yeah, that works. No, I wouldn't spray it with gloss varnish. Not necessary. I don't like using that stuff because I have to go outside, and I don't like to go outside. So I'm just, see how it's already kind of going dull because I'm handling it. So you just take your heat tool and reheat it real quick. And shine it right back up. All right, getting there, y'all, getting there. So on this one, I had put the number 14. I'm not going to be doing that. Now I have a key, but the key's kind of big. I have a little star, which I like. But first I need my paper ephemera down. So I picked, for this one, I picked Handle with Care. And I still have the Call Collect because I find it funny. I'm from the era where we actually did that. I don't know that young people would even know what a collect call was. So I'm going to edge this, of course. And I'm going to glue it straight down. And see why I wanted to leave part of that arrow open is so that I could kind of tuck it up underneath there. But the glue kind of oozed out, but that's all right. So it's all these little elements that, you know, add interest to the card or project. I mean, you don't this doesn't necessarily have to be a card. It could just be, you know, a piece of artwork or, you know, something to go in your journal or your junk journal or, you know, something you hang on your wall. Something utilitarian, I don't know what, but yeah. How are we doing for time? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm so glad I did some pre-prep here. Okay, so then on my other one I had flowers. Where did I put my ephemera flowers? There they are. And you can arrange them any way you like. Or don't have flowers. And it can hang off a little bit. You can trim it. Like maybe I could trim. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim some of this. Okay, a little bit more. I don't really want to lose my little rose bud there. Yeah, maybe go that way. It can hang off a little, but I really don't want it to. So I am going to prune it. figure out where I was. Yeah. See, I'm getting dull again from touching it, so I'll hit it one more time. And I'm not worried about this being fully glued down. Stuff it up under there and give it a whole payphone or a dime, yeah. Sandy, hi Sandy. I started, did you just come in or did I say hi to you earlier and forgot? Let's see here. I want this little metal element right about here. Okay, okay. So I want it sort of tucked in under the heart. And I need to get some of that excess glue off of there. I don't want that. Okay. And you could do more flowers if you wanted to. It's your card. You do you. I have here, I'm going to set this aside for a minute. I have here a top folding white card base. And I'm just going to grab some, I know I had my mint tape earlier, some mint tape. And just tape off the back. And I'm going to grab the Victorian velvet. You could use any color you want. I just thought that the pink was an interesting juxtaposition with the roses. You know, kind of brought them, you know, made them have a like element. That's what I mean, not juxtaposition. That's not the right word. Words are hard. And I'm just doing the edges. And if you all get a card from me, all you gotta do is look at the back, and that's my signature because it's dirty. That's my MO. Okay. Now this I'm going to take, and I already pre-cut. This is fun foam. You could use regular foam tape if you want to. You don't even have to pop it up. I just like to. So I'm going to put the sticky side there, and then I'm going to give it some pushes to make sure it's good and stuck down. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have used a top fold card because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See? These are the things that you have to be easy on yourself with. I put them on backwards a lot. I just figure if I send it to somebody, they'll think I'm quirky. And I am. Eccentric and weird. And I am perfectly okay with that. Okay, so we got this done in an hour. To be fair, I did pre-do some of the things. So if you were to pre-cut those letters out and glue them together, that might take maybe 15 minutes. I think that's all I pre-did was that. And I got all my, you know, supplies out. So we never count cleanup time when we're making a card or setup time. And I do, if I'm doing a live with you guys, I do like to take the time to prepare a little bit. I'm going to shine this up again. There we go. Now this one's kind of heavy because that star and that arrow are heavy. So here's the difference. They're a little bit different because no two cards are ever going to be the same. You know, unless you're mass producing and you're doing the same card. But it's not, it looks a lot. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put my screws in. See? This is what happens when you go live, but it looks fine without them too. You could later on put in some of Tim's little hex things and just glue them down, but I'm okay without them. Are you guys? Thank you so much. So that's all I have. I wanted to show you that sometimes you guys see my work and you think, oh my gosh, I would never tackle that, but it's really, I promise, not that hard, particularly with the right tools. What questions do you have? Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay. Well, listen, if you like this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you would think about subscribing. Oh, wait a second. Before I go, I got to show you something. I have to show you. I must. So I got a vignette tray for another project, but I felt like it was too big for that project. So I went crazy and bought stickers, and I made myself a little project tray with all those stickers, and then I coated it with collage medium that I tinted a little bit with Vintage Photo. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's got, like, I love Pink Floyd, I love the Stones, I love Sublime, love Led Zeppelin, Steppenwolf, Police, AC/DC, Queen, all these guys, right? they're my people. So had a lot of fun just doing this and doing something with, and when I say I got a lot of stickers, I probably have a bundle this big of stickers, and mostly like rock and roll posters and tickets and stuff. Oh, yeah, I just like to, and I like to have a project tray so that, you know, I can set everything up and out of the way and have it all ready to go. So, yeah, so I got inspired and listened to a Sublime album today, and then some, I don't have a Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anyway. Oh, Tim's Christmas tiles. I should send you mine. I probably have duplicates. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with me tonight. I hope that you have a great evening and a great weekend. And take care of yourself. Bye-bye.